This is Michael McKeon, aka Morris Fletcher, aka Chuck McGill. You know who I am. But it's time for Inside the Gilliverse with Eric Broadbent.
You're watching Inside the Gilliverse, talking all things Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. Brought to you by the Royal Baubles Collection at bobbleheads.com. For all your favorite characters from the Gilliverse, shop the Royal Baubles Collection at bobbleheads.com. Also brought to you by Rode Microphones, the official microphone supplier of Inside the Gilliverse. See their entire lineup today at Rode.com. Now please welcome your host, Eric Broadbent.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Season 3, Episode 12 of Inside the Gilliverse, talking all things Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. My name is Eric Broadbent, and it comes with extreme pleasure to welcome tonight's guest from TV's Ozark and Stranger Things, actor Kevin L Johnson, and a very special introduction to our special guest host this evening, Karina Liakos. I'm going to bring both of them on right now, and we did it. We didn't screw up any intros, no pronunciations incorrectly, and we're here. Kevin, Karina, nice to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. Karina, how are you?
Hi, Kevin. I'm doing well.
Karina.
Hi, Kevin.
We noticed
Love the shirt.
Yes, we noticed that off the air. Nice Ozark shirt.
Had to do it.
Perfect. Well, we were talking about that last night. I figured I'd wear the Gilliverse shirt. Karina's going to represent Ozark, and I don't have a Stranger Things shirt, so I couldn't contribute that way. So
I gotta get an Inside the Gilliverse shirt. I want to get one of those.
I'll get you one. I'll get a post office box from you later on or whatever, and I'll send you one. I'll get you one.
Oh, cool.
You tell me your size, and we'll get you one for sure. It's nice to have you guys here, and this is kind of cool. It's our first time doing this where we're getting an actor's perspective outside of the Gilliverse, looking inside. And from what we see on social media, watching you, you come from a fantastic, like, juggernaut hit TV shows, but you're a fan of Better Call Saul as well too. I just like to maybe just, as we start and warm up the show here a little bit, get a bit of history on how you discovered the Gilliverse. Was it Breaking Bad? Was it Better Call Saul? Where you came in and how you got into it?
It was Breaking Bad. I was a late bloomer to Breaking Bad, but my friends, like when I lived in Charlotte at this restaurant I worked at, they were huge Breaking Bad fans, and I didn't get into it until like Netflix had it, and then I watched all of it. Maybe like 3-4 years ago. And I was like, whoa, this is okay. I can see why this is considered one of, if not the best, drama series of all time. So yeah, it was pretty incredible.
It definitely is one of those things where you get hooked very, very quickly, right? No matter where you come in, whether it's Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad, it's one of those things, well, I'll give it a chance. And then all of a sudden, when you have the opportunity to binge watch, one thing I do like about Better Call Saul Season 6 is we have to wait. And, we have to wait for each episode. That's a good thing and that's a bad thing. But when you can binge watch, it's like, okay, I'll watch 3 episodes and it's 5 o'clock in the morning. You've watched an entire season, and you're wondering why you're a little grumpy for work the next day or whatever it is you're doing the next day. Karina, I'm sure you've probably had that with different series that you watch.
Yep. I've gotten up I got up at 3 a.m. when El Camino premiered on Netflix, and watched it multiple times that day. Yep.
I've had this discussion recently. Having a TV in the bedroom is not necessarily a good thing either, because you're like, okay, one more episode, just one more, right?
Just one more.
Yeah, it's not good.
But then they leave you hanging on that last episode, and you're like, well, there's another episode available. I guess I at least need to watch what happens at the beginning of it. And then, an hour goes by and you're still watching it.
Agreed, for sure. And Karina, I know you had a question as far as some characters as well, too.
Yeah. Okay, Kevin. So who is your favorite character on Better Call Saul and why? And who's your favorite villain on Better Call Saul?
Good question.
Oh, wow. Man, I'd say my favorite character is probably Nacho. I really like Michael Mando. I mean, everybody's great, but I just really, really loved his performance. are we allowed to spoil things on here? I mean,
yeah, we can, because for sure. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the recent episodes.
Yeah. So obviously, Nacho's no longer with us. Rest in peace. But yeah, he was awesome. And I would say my favorite villain is I'm gonna go with Hector.
Okay.
Getting to see Hector before he's got the bell, and seeing how that all transpires, that was like, whoa, okay. So Nacho had something to do with that. Okay, very cool.
He really put him in his place too, didn't he? Didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. There's so many answers that could pop up out of the woodwork here. You could say, Lalo is a villain, and becoming quite scary now as well too. Like the powers that we're seeing from him, like the strength that this guy has to go to any lengths to get back at Gus and the team. It's very scary.
They're so charming too. Like especially like you just don't. He just doesn't seem like he's going to be the guy that blows your head off.
No.
Like I feel like one of the and it was I can't remember what season it was. It might have been season 5 was his intro, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
So
4 too, right, Karina?
The end of season 4.
Okay. 'Cause there was like a small scene where he was trying to get info on somebody. Like he went to this
at the travel wire.
Travel wire.
Yeah, and he killed like this just innocent person. Like, and I was just like, oh, that's just, he's just doing it. I think it was the guy just doing his job, and he shot it. Like anytime somebody kills like somebody, just an innocent bystander, you're automatically, cool, like you're gone. Like you can't come back from that. So.
Exactly. He's shown that several times. And Gus is another good example of that as well, too, where, you could meet these people in the general public and shake their hands and, do a press conference type of thing with them. Next thing you know, they could kill you. Like that's the epitome of scare. Like when I was talking to Javier Gujeda a few weeks ago, Karina, remember when he was on the show? Mm-hmm. And, Bolsa on Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul doesn't necessarily show a threat, doesn't show strength by having a gun and killing somebody, but the fear that you don't have to show strength and pop a gun to gonna threaten someone is the epitome of fear. Like you have to fear these people. If you don't see a gun coming at you and you're afraid of that person, there's obviously something that they have. There's control over you for sure. And Lalo for sure showed that at the travel wire. And look at him now in season 6. Like he's to be like, look what he's done. We have to fear that man.
I knew the mid-season finale, I was like, when Howard showed up at the apartment, I was like, oh no. And then when Lalo showed, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
It was like a horror film. It was really frightening.
Yeah. You knew something was going down. It really was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now them teasing us with that darn candle. We saw the candle the first time around. Now they're teasing us with Kim's speech. Have you seen some of these little teasers they're giving us?
Yeah, because we know from the Breaking Bad universe who survives.
Mm-hmm.
Like we know Kim isn't in the Breaking Bad world, but that doesn't mean she's dead. Like I don't know. That's going to be heartbreaking if they kill her off. But if it's, the writers know what they're doing. If it's poetic, it'll make sense.
Yeah. At this point too, like they've killed several major characters, and characters that have been there since, the first season, Howard and of course Nacho. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to see, I my personal opinion, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, and Karina and I have even talked about this too. I don't think they're going to kill off Kim, but there's a lot of these headlines. Yeah, there's a lot of these headlines going around right now too. Like, Ray Seahorn has even said this as well too in some of her interviews. There's a lot of things worse than death sometimes, living here in hell kind of thing, whether it be a prison or who knows what, or just living with your own guilt for life sometimes can be worse than a death too. So who knows, right?
Yeah, I was really excited when season 6, like it came back. I was like, okay, so we're going to get to see, the black and white. He's already, because that's how they start a lot of the episodes,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yep, with Gene.
Yeah.
Each season, they'll start it and then they'll end it
mm-hmm.
with the black and white, right? And we didn't get to see the black and we didn't really get to see
Mhm.
too much of his new, you know,
I think
his new identity.
I
Yeah.
think they're saving that for, you know, a whole episode would be my guess.
Ooh.
At least. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if we end up with a black and white episode, there's going to be some juice for sure.
It's just unfortunate that the guy who passed up, the guy who was the fixer,
Robert
the
Forster?
vacuum cleaner guy, he passed away. So
Yeah.
I don't know how he didn't shoot any of season 6 probably, right? He had already passed away.
Yeah, no, I mean, if they use anything, there might still be some footage because with El Camino too, right? Karina, wasn't there was footage that was.
Yeah, that was some of his final work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so you never know. There could be something in the can there as well too, or it could just be dialogue and you don't see him. You know, it could be resalvage. It's amazing what they can do. I mean, we're all big Star Wars fans and things like that. I'm sure. Look what they did with, you know, Carrie Fisher and stuff like that too, right? It was amazing. I mean, look at Jimi Hendrix is still releasing records. You know what I mean? So it can happen. It can happen. We have a super chat question that came in from Jen Stevens, our moderator, and I think maybe after that I'll jump over to in a moment and ask a question from her sister. But this is more of a statement for you, Kevin. She's saying, "Hi, Kevin. Love your work. My question is, Sam got into some legal trouble in Ozark. Oh, I love this. Who would Sam have hired to defend him, Saul or Kim?"
Oh man. I'm gonna go with Kim. I think he's got a thing. Sam's got a thing for blondes, and you know, I think she would win him over. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, if you look at a recent, you know, Jimmy/Saul, whatever, you know, the carrot and stick episode. You want someone coming in there soft. You want someone with a stick, right? So
yeah,
Kim brought the stick. So there you go. That's a good answer. And from her sister, from Kat Hubbard says, as a fan, who is your favorite character on Ozark?
Oh wow. Just like Better Call Saul, they're all good. Oh man. I mean, for season 3, I'm going to go Ben Davis. You know, Tom Pelphrey as Ben was incredible. And then, just as an actor, getting to play a role like that, like somebody who's bipolar, that's an actor's dream, what he did with that character. And I would say overall, probably Ruth. I mean, everybody loves Ruth. She's ruthless, man. So, and Julia is an amazing person. She took that role to another level, and her career has gone like skyrocketed too from it.
She's done well. Yeah. She has.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Karina would agree with you with me on this, and a lot of the fans watching. You are as well too. What you brought to the table, you were a chameleon. How you fit into that role. Not only did you fit in and not necessarily step on anyone's toes as far as lines, but you owned your place. And people wanted to see what was happening to you because you're almost like an innocent victim a lot of times. Your character I'm referring to, you know, not you, but you know what I'm saying? Like the character was, you just wanted to kind of have a purpose. You know, would you agree as well, Karina?
Yeah, definitely.
Like you fit right in. You fit right in. So you totally brought an element to the show. It's not like you're a one-line pony. You were there for the whole thing.
All 4 seasons, which is unusual for that show. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised that I got to stick around for so long. I mean, I had a feeling when I booked the role that this character could stick around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But just the fact that they let me, play with them for 4 seasons was so much fun. And getting to see, working in a real estate office, going to a strip club, falling in love, gambling money, going to jail, all that, like it was an actor's dream. Yeah, it was so much fun.
Well, with that being said, maybe you can kind of tell us a little bit of like what really inspired you to chase this path? Like, I mean, was there in high school and things like that, was there drama classes that you enjoyed, or acting classes? Who inspired you to chase this dream?
I got into acting in college. I switched majors, and I wanted to find something to break out of my shell, and I switched to an English major. And like I went to go see a funny thing happen on the way to the forum. It was one of the requirements for one of the classes. We had to write about it, and just really fell in love with it. Like the audience was laughing, everybody was into it, and I was like, man, I want to do that. That looks like a lot of fun. So yeah, I signed up for, acting classes the next semester, auditioned for some plays, got a couple, didn't get in a couple, but got to be a part of some, like got to run tech crew to kind of see what it's like behind stage.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I just fell in love with it. And it was funny because when I told my dad that I wanted to be an actor, he was like, well, that's great, but I'm not paying for you.
What's he thinking of you now?
No, he's good now. He's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a huge fan of Ozark. He would always, tell his buddies, like, hey, my son's on Ozark. My
cool.
Mom's one of my biggest fans. So they're super proud of me. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Did
they ever ask, like, well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Like, that happens with a lot of things, right? But did they ever ask you for any intel?
My mom would be like, she would try to get me to say stuff,
mm-hmm.
but I knew my dad didn't want to know, which was really cool. I was like, that's awesome. It's a show that my dad loves, and he doesn't want to know what's going to happen. He wants to be surprised. So yeah, when they saw how it all ended, my dad watched, like, I think the first 7 episodes, like, right when they came out,
mm-hmm.
and then he watched the final 7 before I finished. Yeah.
Really?
And I didn't know how it was going to end, because I have all the scripts,
mm-hmm.
but Sam doesn't know what's going on outside his universe, basically. So, and I'm a fan of the show, so I was surprised about, a number of the things that happened in the final 7 episodes.
That's amazing too, because a lot of times they have this misconception, especially in the Better Call Saul world, that everyone knows exactly what's going on. A lot of times they're only provided their lines, and so they don't know what's going on. It's like out of their peripheral vision, they just see what they've got to focus on. Yeah. So sometimes it is, and often cases it is a surprise, and especially when it comes to season finales. I can just imagine, like, the security going around Better Call Saul right now for the final few episodes. It's got to be lock and key and decoder ring, and 2 nuclear codes. 2 people have to turn the locks. It's Peter and Vince at the same time turning the key to open the lock for a script. Yeah, it's got to be insane.
There's only 6 episodes left, right?
Yeah, and it come July 11th, right, Karina? I think is that correct?
July 11th. We'll finish on August 15th.
Yeah. It's we're all waiting and chomping at the bit for this to start, and now it's like slow. Like, I know we're racing to get to July 11th. That's just around the corner, and then boom, a few Mondays and we're all done, and then we have to go to therapy in some way. I'm not looking forward to that.
I'm intrigued like how they're gonna put Jesse and Walter, like, because they've already said that they're going to be in the final season. I wonder if that would be like at the end of the season, because that's, I wonder how they would do that.
Yeah, I think it's coming. I think it's coming. I mean, I don't have intel inside. I don't have inside information on this. I think it's coming sooner than rather than later.
Okay.
But it's kind of disappointing that was let out. But I think in a way, maybe it was almost like a red herring in a way. Like, there could be something bigger coming, and maybe like the big thing of Walter White and Jesse being introduced. There's something even bigger, if that's even possible. I'm just speculating, but maybe that's almost like, okay, let's talk about that. Let's throw this over here. Walt and Jesse are back, and then all said, whoa, what the heck is this? You know how these guys are. The guys and girls in that writer's room. You know, like let's look over. It's like David Copperfield magic, right? You got your smoke and mirrors. Look over here. We do this trick, and then all of a sudden there's something going on over here that you just missed, right?
I wonder if they're going to do like a spinoff from this. Like, have they, thought about that?
I don't know. Like, as Karina knows, I've asked Vince here on the show several times, and a million people have asked him this question as well too. We asked him if there was more, because there's lots of stories to be told yet in the Gilliverse. I'm sure we could all. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
But, actors aging somewhat. There's the factors like that. Sure, we can do de-aging and stuff like that, but it's costly. Even Tom has commented, like, it's costly to do that kind of stuff. And Better Call Saul doesn't have like an unlimited budget. They make use of the money, and they reuse props and things like that multiple times. Even like, hey, Karina, like Lalo's underground in the sewer was a kind of a repurposed tank trailer from the Nacho episode. So, they're so they repurpose things, and they have the great prop masters on the show, construction people, stuff like that. But it's very hard to say. I just don't know. But another question is coming your way from the chat. This is from Bob Rich. Bob says, Kevin, what are the most important ingredients when making a highly compelling crime drama show, and how do Ozark and Better Call Saul display those qualities?
Oh, wow. You definitely have to have some just kick-ass writers. Like, it begins in the writing room. And we had some great writers, just like Better Call Saul does. Like, we got Chris Mundy, and the entire crew. It's like just amazing. And then cinematography is important too. You want that kind of dramatic feel, that tense. You have no idea like what's going to happen. Like, that's always a really, like, if I'm watching something and I have no idea, like, and I'm on the edge of my seat wondering if somebody's about to get their head blown off, having no clue, like that's a good sign. Yeah,
for sure.
And both shows had that.
I know, you never know, right? And the music elements adding to that, and you're just waiting. You feel that suspense. Obviously with Dave Porter and the music supervision that they have, it's just insane. It's just insane. You never know. You feel it. Like if you don't walk away from those shows feeling like a little bit uneasy, in a lot of cases, you need to go check your pulse.
Like, I didn't know how, like, was it the last episode of season 5 where Nacho, I was like, how's he going to get out of this? Like, how? Because we know he's not in the Breaking Bad universe, which makes it even more intense. Like, does that mean he's about to get knocked off? And he somehow made it out of that compound. And I was like, damn, wow, okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, some shows, I can't really even give you an example, nor would I want to if I could say it. But some shows just have like this, the character that's in danger always gets away. It's like, always gets out of trouble, and that's not the case in the Gilliverse. They don't have 9 lives. They might escape a few times, but you can't chase death forever if it's your calling, and they're not afraid to execute that. You know what I mean?
Like Game of Thrones, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And Karina, Kevin just answered a question a minute ago too. When talking about who would he, if he was needing a legal representation, Jimmy or Kim. Now, I know you had a similar question. Let's go with yours.
So who do you think is Breaking Bad more, Kim or Jimmy?
Wow, oh man. I can say Kim. She wants to be this pro bono, defendant, but then she's also got this urge to, help out her man, and I think it's pretty evident in the episode where she turns the car around. Like, she could have totally, gone to where she had to go, but Jimmy calls her and says, all right, we got to call it off. We'll do it some other time. She's like, no, we're doing it tonight. Like, she just has this itch to do the wrong thing, which Howard, says in his final scene that, it, like, I thought you were the good one or something. Like,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like, which I wonder if she's
like a telling of what's to come.
Yeah. It's almost like I wonder if she's trying to justify, sometimes people do bad things, but they do a whole bunch of good things and they think it erases the bad, right? But the good doesn't erase the bad. So doing all this pro bono and helping people in need and underprivileged teens and whatever is justifying some of the things that she's doing bad. And I think that's kind of the path that she's choosing, or chasing, It could be. Here's a question from Jen as well, too, from the chat. She says, this is for Kevin, says, what are your top 3 Better Call Saul episodes? And that's like picking, that's hard. It's like your favorite 3 songs of life. But man, there are some good ones. And you can take a moment to think about that. That's a tough one. I don't even know if I could answer that, but go ahead and think about it. Karina, think about yours, too, while he's thinking.
I don't know if I can think of like episodes. I mean, I can think of moments probably.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't know where it came from. I gotta say my number 1 episode is where he was in the desert and he was
Bagman.
Bagman, yeah.
Tom's episode.
That was intense.
Oh no, that's Gordon's, right? That was Gordon's. Bagman, and then Tom's was Bad Choice Road. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, that would be up there too.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah,
and Rockin' Hard Place from the new season, probably.
Oh yeah.
With Nachos.
Which is that Nachos? Okay, yeah, that would be in the top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
The finale of last year was really intense. Or not last year. 2 years ago.
It's 2 years ago now, I know.
And then the heartbreaker when Chuck burned his own house down because
Lantern.
Yeah.
Chicanery.
Yeah. Oh, I agree with you on that one too. Yeah. There's so many similarities between that episode and Howard losing his mind. Well, he lost his mind in more ways than one. Part of it was removed from his head, but I mean, he was melting down in the boardroom too, right? That was such a nice.
I felt bad for him.
I know.
I never thought Howard was like a bad guy, really. I just but the whole first half of the new season was all leading up to what they were trying to do to him. And I was trying to put the pieces together, like, man, this is an elaborate scheme, like set for like all 6 episodes had little, setting it up more and more and more. And it was pretty masterful the way they did it. But yeah, I felt bad at the end. Yeah.
I know too. Like I there's been several characters in several different shows. I'm a big Walking Dead fan. I used to be, anyways. It religiously. My days were revolved around that show. And there's and there's characters that got killed off, and I don't want to say I hated the character because that's not nice to say, but I didn't like certain characters, and then they get killed off, and then you had days of guilt. It's like, and I mean, Patrick Fabian is such a great person. But I don't know if I was necessarily a big fan of Howard per se. And I don't even know why, but it's just like, cause he always got under your skin as far as, Jimmy and stuff like that. But then what happened to him, it's like, yikes, man. Like, no. He didn't deserve that. Not in the least.
No, not at all.
Like if they wanted to follow through,
I don't think they didn't want that to happen to him either. They just wanted to.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, Howard, get out of here. Go. And he just.
Yeah.
He was like, no, I want to talk. I don't know who this guy is right here, but I want to finish my conversation with you.
Yeah. No more conversation. Yeah.
That was all she wrote.
It's too bad they didn't just follow through with a nair and make him go bald or bleach him out or whatever, they're, you know what I mean? It would have been, I could handle being bald a little bit better than, a silencer to the forehead, to the temple.
Yeah. Hopefully it was nice and quick and didn't do
yeah.
anything. Good Lord.
But wasn't it cool too? Like Tom had commented, Tom was on the show a while back and was talking about how he wrote that extra little bit. Someone asked him about this with, Howard hitting his head on the coffee table too. I mean, it wasn't just bam, boom, over. Like, it had to make that extra violent, impact.
I was wondering that too. I was like, man, that's just like, you already shot him in the head and then you're going to bang his, like, just in case he didn't die from the shotgun or the silencer.
Yeah.
that probably would have killed him.
And I think it played on our heartstrings more too, because, it was not only do we see, a very innocent person killed unnecessarily, and this to suffer that extra, just violent attack is bam, 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 and then now, like, we have to hypothesize, thinking about cleaning up this room. Who's going to be doing that? It's going to be Mike. There's some good theories. Do you have any theories on, Karina? Maybe we'll go to you. Do you have any theories on that? As far as the post, when we pick up, I'm not sure if we're going to see that right away, but do you have any theories on how that's going to be covered up?
I don't think he's going to disappear. I think they'll have to make it look like I don't know if they can make it look like he killed himself or some sort of accident, but I mean, it's going to come out that he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't know how. They always surprise me. So.
Yeah, that's true. It really, it's who knows, and they don't have, and I don't think you're going to spend a lot of time on it. I mean, we've got Gordon Smith coming up soon too. We'll talk about that later on in the show, and he can probably give us a little bit of more insight on that as well too, without spoiling anything. But yeah, I don't think you're going to spend a lot of time, because there's still more stories to unfold, and with 6 episodes left, that's not a lot of story time. And I think we're going to probably get a couple longer episodes, probably, especially the finale will probably be longer, but there's not a lot of hours left in this season.
Yeah. Is this the first time that Kim has seen the dirty side? Like that's her first time, right? Seeing somebody get shot. First
time seeing it. I mean, she knows Jimmy was involved. She saw the cup. She saw the money. She knows, he had the PTSD, with the orange juicer and stuff like that. But that's the first time she's seen it, as far as I know, right, Karina?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now she's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike seems like the guy that would show up to take care of that. That seems like his thing.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Well, as Mike had said before, what she said to Jimmy, she's in the game, and in the desert, for that example too. And Jimmy's like, no, she's not in the game. But if she's deep in the game now, I think she's actually running the game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we talked earlier too. We kind of hypothesized about Kim's future, and we kind of know we discussed on that, like the fact that she, she's not in Breaking Bad. She doesn't necessarily have to die. So who knows where she goes? But you've been talking about missing the Gene black and white, cold opens for each season. Do you have any theories yourself? And we'll go to Karina in a second, ask her thoughts as well too. But do you have any theories on what happens to Gene as we conclude this story? Or maybe hopes or thoughts, or maybe a combination of both?
I got to think we're going to see Kim in the black and white at some point. Maybe not like the happy-go-lucky, they end up together kind of thing, but maybe, who knows? Maybe she's. How many years have gone by? Do they say at all? Like when he becomes Gene, does it say how many years has gone by?
Do you know, Karina, if you don't know, I know someone will say it in the chat as well too. And do you know roughly?
Not exactly. No, I don't think a lot of time.
Okay.
But I'm not sure.
It'd be nice It'd be nice to see the black and white.
See Kim, but we're not going to get any, big old happy ending or reunion. Or
No.
It's going to surprise us, whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, I have no idea. I would love to see Kim in the black and white. No, for sure.
Ozark certainly wasn't a happy ending. He certainly wasn't happy.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. Okay.
So did you see that for the first time watching it like the rest of us in the world? Is that how you discovered it?
Yeah. I had no idea that was going to happen. Yeah.
Oh man.
Sopranos style. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, whoa. Okay.
Did you watch it with family, friends, or?
I watched the last episode by myself. I had watched a number of them with some friends, but they weren't in town. I was like, man, I got to watch the final episode. And they were like, it's totally fine. Go ahead. It's like, okay, thanks.
Oh yeah. They're telling you it's all good, right? That's all safe, no problems. It's all happy ever. Ruth runs a candy shop, and it's all good.
Yeah. happy-go-lucky.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, Karina, I know you had some questions as well too, as basically on the thoughts so far. I mean, we're over halfway through, unfortunately, and you had a question for Kevin as far as his thoughts on the series so far.
Yeah, just basically, what were your thoughts on the first half and, so far?
Ooh,
And it's kind of general.
no, I mean it's been great. I love the way they, begin some of the episodes, and they did this in the Breaking Bad world too. Like the first, like before they show the credits at the beginning, it's just sometimes it's like a random scene, but it's going to come back later.
Yeah,
and I always thought that was really cool.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, but I'm happy with the first half. I thought the whole, setting up Howard was a nice long setup, like a slow burn kind of thing, and then it all made sense. And then Nacho, the way he went out was pretty, like it on my terms kind of deal. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where it's going to go in the second half, for sure.
I like how you mentioned how they kind of made it drawn out with the plot to get Howard, and a lot of people complained that the season 6 has been slow, and I don't find that at all. I think sometimes, and no disrespect to people that say that, sometimes people come in on a late season and they just want stuff to happen, right? They want stuff to happen, but the fact that they stretched that out for so long, I think it made the final act so much more violent, so much more painful to absorb. Because they kept letting you know if something bad's going to happen. We don't know what. He's going to get disbarred. He's going to go to jail or whatever. But it just made us like, oh, man, that really hurts now. Because we knew something was coming, Yeah. A couple questions from the chat. This is, one is from Kat Hubbard. She's asking what your drink of choice is this evening.
LaCroix. Limoncello LaCroix. I can't drink any other LaCroix now. It's insanely good. It tastes like lemon cake.
Now, what is that? Is it like an iced tea kind of? What is that?
Oh no, it's a sparkling water.
Okay, nice.
It's limoncello.
Okay,
flavored.
Nice.
And it'll ruin you for any other sparkling water because it just tastes so good.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I don't know if I have that in Canada. I'll have to watch for it. I'm the only Canadian here on the panel, so I'll have to look for it. Yeah. And from Marion Art, a question says for Kevin, who would you like to work with from within the Gilliverse, and why would that be?
Oh, wow. Well, Vince and Tom, I would love to work with you guys, so let me know. In the actual show, Ray Seahorn would be incredible to work with. I love her. I just love her journey as an actor, because, I think she said in interviews that she auditioned and auditioned and auditioned over and over and over again for different projects. And then Sharon Bialy and Sherry Thomas had her come in tons of times for other projects, and they didn't work out. But they remembered her for Better Call Saul, and she landed the role of a lifetime, and it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the casting directors, because we wouldn't have none of the shows that we watch. We'll step outside of Gilliverse for a moment. We wouldn't have the talent. We wouldn't have the talent that, like yourself as well, too, in the roles that you've played, without great casting directors. And a lot of times they go unthanked, because we don't know who's responsible for bringing those people. And this wasn't a question that neither Karina or I had prepared for you tonight, but maybe you can kind of share about meeting some of the casting directors either through Ozark or Stranger Things, and maybe and it might even be encouraging to other people if want to follow in your footsteps, want to get into some show business. And, what was it like getting the call and the audition for either of those shows, and maybe talk about the casting directors involved in those programs?
Yeah. So I got cast in both Ozark and Stranger Things by our same local casting director here in Atlanta, Feldstein Paris Casting. And they cast me in Ozark first. but it was a taped audition, no callbacks, which, you know, when people hear like taped audition, they're always surprised, but we've been doing like taped auditions before the pandemic was a thing. Like in the Southeast, it's always been a thing, at least for the first round. And then, you know, if you do callbacks, which for some reason, like we didn't do a callback for Ozark. I got that off the tape. I didn't think I booked it because I asked my manager that I had at the time, you know, to find out, I was like, hey, has casting gotten back with you about the Ozark audition? And she found out that they were going to go with somebody older for the role. So I just assumed that, you know, that I didn't book it. And I was like, all right, well, this is not my first rodeo. I've been told no plenty of times.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, out of the blue, I found out that they changed their mind and they wanted to book me for the show. And you just never know, like, when it's going to happen. Sometimes, like, the craziest, you know, things happen. You'll see stories about actors in movies and TV shows where they weren't their first choice and they had to go, you know, things had to happen for it to get to them. You just never know.
Now, did you, in your world of Stranger Things and Ozark, like in Gilliverse, the actors a lot of times are given kind of like they're thrown off the trail. They're reading for a different character that doesn't exist. So in Walking Dead and millions of shows, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, was that the case for your audition, or were you auditioning for that exact part?
For Ozark, it was for that exact part. It
Okay.
was the first, because I was in the first season and they weren't very secretive, you know, at that point. So that was straight from my first episode in the show. But then Stranger Things was a lot more hush hush. Like, I remember the breakdown for my character was I think it said the name like Victor, but it was like young man back from army dealing with a loss in the family. And then the audition itself was dummy sides from the movie Signs with Mel Gibson.
Okay.
And so it was the scene where he sees his wife before she dies, where at the car wreck, was a brutal scene, like very sad. And that was, it's a short kind of scene, but that was the scene that I had for the audition for Stranger Things. And it said that they were looking for somebody who looked like a young Bill Maher. So I was like, okay, so Bill Maher is going to be in Stranger Things. Interesting. And then I found out, like, during like when I was getting fitted for wardrobe, that it was going to be Robert Englund.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was a way of saying, because I guess if you look at a young Robert Englund and a young Bill Maher, they kind of have a similar look.
Yeah, I could see that tiny bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So that was the way they kind of, you know, kept it a secret, even from me, who I was playing a younger version of if I got that role.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were really secretive on that show.
Well, Karina, I know you have a couple really awesome questions for Kevin for working with Jason Bateman, but let's jump ahead because you have a follow-up question I know that you had about Robert Englund. So maybe go to that one for Kevin first, because I know it's good. And Karina's a major fan of horror. I am too, but she seems to know that genre, Stephen King and she knows all that stuff so much better than me. But she's got a great question about Robert Englund and you know, the role that you played.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you get to meet or hang out with Robert Englund since you were playing the younger version of his character, Victor Creel on Stranger Things? And I also loved all the nods to Nightmare on Elm Street with his role on Stranger Things. I love that. But did you get to actually meet him?
I did. I met him in passing, but he was leaving set as I was coming onto set. And, you know, if you've seen the show, you can, like, he couldn't see because of, so he was having to be walked around, like, with, you know, somebody had to, because he couldn't see anything. But everybody said that he was super nice. just really down to earth guy. Yeah, it would have been nice to have gotten to, shake his hand or something, but it was kind of a quick interaction, if that. But yeah, I love the way the homage to Nightmare on Elm Street in this season. It's beautiful. And they even hit like I think one of the shirts that I wore was like a striped. It was like a green and a dark green and a light green striped shirt to kind of give, the Freddy Krueger vibe. Yeah. Just a little. Okay. And then the hat, I think I had the hat, which was kind of the Freddy Krueger vibe. So little Easter eggs. But yeah, that was a lot of fun shooting that. Not knowing, I had my theories about what we were shooting, but they were very secretive.
Yeah. Obviously, like some nice nods from the wardrobe department as well too. What can we do here to,
definitely by design.
Yeah.
No doubt that was by design.
Yeah. Just like Gilliverse, nothing is by accident. Everything is.
No. Yeah. Nothing by accident on TV.
Yeah. And people will pause frames and they'll show us something in the back. That means this, this kind of stuff. And it must have been cool for Robert as well too, just to kind of jump back into that wheelhouse again a little bit. Obviously it's not Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's pretty darn close in a way too, right?
Oh yeah. And the Duffer brothers I'm sure they were super ecstatic when they found out that he wanted to be a part of it. Because they're huge horror 80s, kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is definitely the darkest season of Stranger Things, which makes sense because the kids are getting older.
Yeah.
So, it makes sense.
That's right. Well, since the pandemic's come about and we're kind of quickly getting on the better side of it, podcasting has become such a big thing. And that's totally, of one of the few benefits of COVID is it helped a lot of people find their voice. And that's what's helped me and Karina and others that do this kind of thing. We're able to communicate with people. People weren't out touring, musicians weren't touring, actors weren't necessarily working because they couldn't work. So we were able to sit down at home every Friday night and talk to them. And everyone's got great podcasts. And I know Karina always keeps telling me about Jason Bateman's podcast. I know she's got some questions for you about that. And Karina, you can ask him about that as well.
Well, I'm a huge fan of Jason Bateman and his podcast, Smart List. And do you listen to it every week like I do?
Oh yeah. I've heard most of them. But yeah, they're Jason, so Will Arnett, Sean Hayes. They're perfect together. Yeah.
Yes.
Love them.
Love it.
Now I haven't heard a single episode yet, but I'm going to go through and start catching up on them because I do love Jason as an actor. I think he's great. I know when you get those guys together, there's probably some good comic relief as well too. Obviously some serious notes, but it's something I look forward to. It's hard to, and I had this talking to Pete when I was on Pete's show. Pete Pepper's there. He doesn't get a chance to listen to a lot of other shows because you're producing your own shows, and I don't get a chance to listen to a lot of other things as well too, as much as I'd love to, but like it takes so much time to produce these shows, you don't get a chance to listen. But I'm looking forward to catching up on a lot, and just like TV shows as well too, I like to add things to my watch list. I know I can't watch them, but if I add them to my watch list, I know I'm not going to miss them eventually, and this is a good question as well, Karina. I know you and I have talked about this, and it seems like this is more common than not. I thought I was one of the very few people that did this. Apparently, almost everyone does. When you're watching a good show, whether it's Better Call Saul or Ozark or Stranger Things or wherever any of your favorite shows, do you ever pause and see how much time is left in the episode? Do you do that?
Or I'll if you press the arrow and you can see how much time is left.
Yeah.
No, I do that.
Yeah. I guess it's more
why I just do.
I know. It's almost like, okay, it can go two ways. You've got 8 minutes left. Okay. Kim's not going to die. There's only 8 minutes left. Or it's like, uh-oh. You know what I mean? I'm just using Kim as an example, but any show you're watching, it's like, okay, we got 8 minutes left. Or there's 30 minutes left. Oh man, something juicy is going to happen. And I'm trying to almost, when I want to watch a show now, I want to put the remote far away from reach. So I don't do that because I think, but when we were kids, we didn't have that option to pause. We couldn't pause TV, you know.
I know, yeah.
And the commercial come on, you run to the bathroom. That's your only pause. You know, that's it. But anything you've learned as takeaways from working with Jason Bateman and some of the crew in Ozark? Like, was there any as skills as an actor or just life lessons you've learned working on a show like that?
Less is more, always. It's something that I was always told in acting class too. I always take it back to this movie. A funny way of describing it. What is it? Forgetting Sarah Marshall with Jason Segel. And there's a scene with Jason Segel and Paul Rudd, and he's teaching him how to surf, and he gets on the board, and he's like standing on the board doing his thing, and Paul Rudd goes, "You're doing too much. You gotta do less." So he does a little less. He's like, "You're still doing too much," and eventually he gets to where he's just like laying on the board and doing nothing. and Paul Rudd goes, "Well, you gotta do something." That's like it's a perfect that's a metaphor for acting. I think it's beautiful. It's the less you do, but there has to be something behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't need to push it as much. As long as something is bubbling up inside of you, trying to get out, that's the beauty. That's what people want to see. And you see that. You see it in Ozark. You see it in Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. You see people burst, but a lot of times you don't want to show that side of you. Like, you don't want to lash out in public or something, but inside you're like, man, I really fucking hate that person right now.
Mm-hmm.
I really, and that's what the audience wants to see. They want to see that turmoil going on inside, I think.
Well, sometimes too, like the lack of dialogue, there's a lot of lack of dialogue in Better Call Saul. You talked about one of your favorite villains being Hector Salamanca, when Hector is now in the wheelchair, we don't have any dialogue from him. It's facial expressions. Salamanca twins, we don't see next to any dialogue from them. Even Nacho at times, it was more facial expressions. There's been times with Kim, it's eyes and things like that as well too. Lack of dialogue sometimes too is not necessarily what's written on the paper, which is brilliant, but what's not spoken, can be very, very powerful.
Yeah, and that takes skill for sure. Like to be able to say what you want to say without saying something,
Mm-hmm.
So that's a beautiful thing when it's done right.
Exactly. The last question I have for you, and I know Karina's got a good one about a Netflix program as well too, as we wrap up. But working with the shows that you have with, they're juggernauts on TV. They're just phenomenal. I love them. I put them up on my pedestal of favorite shows ever of what you've been in, and you've worked with great writing teams, great showrunners, all that thing. I don't want to compare. We're not comparing here. I would just like your opinion of the writing team behind Better Call Saul.
Oh, wow. Holy cow. Compared to Ozark?
No, not comparing at all. Not comparing at all, because it's not fair. You can't compare apples to apples. But just, what are your thoughts on the writing team? Like, do they as a story is just unbelievable to you? Is it like, they are incredible. The team that they have, they're very diverse, and just your thoughts as a team in general.
Oh, it's beautiful. Like, I think the best writing is where you trust the actor, to bring the character to life, and not give away, in the dialogue. And good writers, know how to let an actor bring something to the writing, and if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it for sure.
Without what is the word I'm looking for? Exposition, I guess, maybe. Okay. And letting the audience discover through through their actions who these characters are. That makes
No,
I'm not a writer, so it's hard to describe it. But yeah, does that make sense?
It does. Does it inspire you to possibly write something someday? Have you written any screenplays, or is it something you might want to try sometime?
Oh man, at one point I was like maybe I should try to write something, just to, this is before I got Ozark. I was just trying to think of something to do, like just I needed to get my mind off the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought the book Story. I can't remember who wrote it, but my acting teacher told me, like, if you want to write a script, then I think you should, read the book Story first. And he talks about how the dialogue is the last thing that you're supposed to write, really. You write the outline, and the dialogue is, and you don't want to give away stuff in the dialogue. Like it's I don't know how to describe it. It's not easy. Anybody who can write TV shows, films, more power to you. Because that stuff is really difficult. I think Jason Bateman said it best. He said, like, the hierarchy is like writer, then this writer first, then it's the director, and then it's the actor.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Writing
is extremely difficult.
That puts it in perspective for you, doesn't it? For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well said. And Karina, I know you had a question as far as some Netflix programs that Kevin may or may not be associated with.
Yeah. Can you tell us anything about the new Netflix series Florida Man? I know Jason Bateman's also an executive producer on it.
Oh man, they haven't said too much about it. It was a lot of fun to shoot, and it's a drama, but it's got a little comedy. Edgar Ramirez is starring in it. Abby Lee, who was in Lovecraft Country, is in it. Think of it as like a modern version of like Homer's Odyssey, kind of is what they're describing it as. Yeah, I know it's very vague, really, but I think it's going to be a fun show. I don't know when it's coming out, but I would say we'll hear something soon about it. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. Is there anything else in the pipeline that you can share with us right now, or is there any things that you're looking to get?
I've got some things in the works. Nothing I can speak about.
Right.
But I'll definitely let y'all know. When I can say something.
That's fantastic. Well, we wish you the best for sure. And when, Karina, you're the Stranger Things fanatic. You know more about it than I do. When does the second half of that pick back up?
July 1st.
Okay, so we got that, and then 10 days later we get Better Call Saul. That's nice. That's nice to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I imagine, Kevin, speaking for you as well too, you're probably looking forward to July 11th to get here and catch back up on.
Yeah. Let's see what happened in that apartment.
Yes. We have a comment from, I think it was from Jen Stevens. Let me see here. It was from Whiskey Shred. Says, I'm watching the whole series again during the break until July 11th. It's just phenomenal to watch again. And hello, Eric in chat. Thanks again. And I think Jen Stevens said something too about it, and I forget what it was. I've lost it here too. But yeah, we're looking forward to catching back up to that and just seeing what happens. Oh, Gordon Smith. Who said something about Gordon Smith? It was Jen. She says, can't wait for Gordon's next episode. And we have Gordon coming up, just to let our fans know right now too. It's not a Friday night. It is, I wrote it down.
Thursday.
June 30th. Right. Thank you. Thursday. It's Thursday, June 30th. Just Gordon's in a million places right now, and the Fridays just did not work out at all. So Gordon Smith will be back, touch base a little bit on, he won't be able to say too much future, but he'll be able, give us some little bit of insight. So we look forward to having him as well too. But Kevin, as we wrap up here, there's one thing I didn't, and I'm not sure how many episodes of our show you've seen before too, but Tom Schnauz had kind of coined this little thing here. It's a little trivia thing we like to play with everybody. I know Karina's got a little grin on her face because she knows about what I'm going to ask. So Tom says when we go out to this place every Friday night, going to the Gilliverse, which is like somewhere in the universe, we get there, and whether we're on a bus or we're a ship or however we get there, there's a smell, and it smells like this and this. And I can give you an example. It might smell like bubble gum and cheese. Okay. All right. So there's two answers, and there are right answers. So if you went to this imaginary place and you picture Breaking Bad, El Camino, Better Call Saul, and all the characters and drama, what would be your perspective on what it smells like when you arrive in the Gilliverse? It'll be like this and this.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Burning flesh and cheese pizza.
Well, okay. I can almost
pizza moment on Breaking Bad.
I can almost, Karina, I think we can give him an honorary almost on the pizza, because one of the toppings I like on pizza a lot is bacon. And Tom Schnauz likes bacon on Cheerios. I mean, he puts bacon on everything. So bacon, and the correct answer is bacon and fear.
Bacon and fear. Okay.
Yeah. One of the funniest ones I think it was ever said was Giancarlo Esposito said, Tom Schnauz shoes, and I'm not sure what else he said, but it was something of the sort too. So there is no really right answer. I mean, even Tom's not right when he thinks he's right. But it's funny. We like to just ask that every week. But listen, we want to thank you very much for taking your time this evening on this Friday evening. I know it's a little earlier than it is for us here in Canada and Eastern Time Zone. But thank you so very, very much, and we wish you the best.
Oh, yeah.
We love your work.
It's the same time zone here, though.
Oh, okay, good. Whereabouts are you?
Atlanta.
Okay.
I'm on the East Coast.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So, all right, that's good. Yeah. Well, I know we've been looking forward to doing this with you for a while, and we appreciate you accommodating. We had the bump last week. Just the timing did not work out. And Karina, it's been great to have you as guest host. Karina does, so in case you don't know what Karina does for us, she's our executive producer here. And every week while I'm running the show, I just push the buttons and make sure the lights work. Karina's literally voice texting me questions from the chat, so I don't miss them. I have the chat open, but I don't get a chance to pay attention to it. Tonight we had to. But that's what she does for us every week. Make sure everything's going good, and making sure I didn't miss anything. So Karina, thank you so much for everything you do. And it was a pleasure
Thank you, Karina.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you as a guest host
Thanks,
tonight.
Kevin.
I want to also, since we're thanking people as well too, I want to thank our sponsors, Warren and Rachel at bobbleheads.com. You can see it's hard to see back there because some of the cool bobbleheads back there. Visit bobbleheads.com for all the Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul characters. And Karina, your team as well too. Jen, she was doing great in the chat tonight. Renata and Eamon, they run our chat and make sure there's nothing that goes awry there as well too. And as we mentioned, next on June 30th, it's a Thursday, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Gordon Smith makes his second return to the show. We're talking about upcoming episodes somewhat, and we are renewed for season 4. So we'll be carrying Gilliverse into the 4th season in January, and that'll be probably the end of it. Who knows? But we hope everyone has a safe and fun weekend. Kevin, we'll say goodbye to you off the air, and just thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Don't go away. We'll say goodbye out there. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you very, very soon. And until next time, cheers.
Thanks again for tuning into Inside the Gilliverse with Eric Broadbent. Be sure to check back each week for more great discussions and interviews with cast and crew from Breaking Bad, El Camino, and Better Call Saul. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.